inside and it narrows up, but Mostert's got the lead. Di Pasquale's been displaced. He's dropped a little bit of ground, and Kostecki's moved it up into third position. So it's Mostert, Wood, Kostecki, Di Pasquale and Allen.
Absolutely beautiful start from the front row for both the Walkinshaw cars, and from the clean side of the road, from the outside of the road, Mostert's able to prevail.
And he has bolted down the back straight. It's about 20 degrees out there at the moment. There's a light breeze. It's a little bit of a tailwind heading up there on a cold tyre, and he's got a tiny margin on his teammate as they jostle in the mid-pack. On the inside is Waters. In behind him is Murray, and on the outside is David Reynolds, and that can be awkward. Then they've got to stop him down here on cold tyres. Very easy to lock a brake. Mixed into the battle here also is Cam Hill as we jump on board with Courtney. Feeding down towards the right-hander at turn 11 now. Mostert's got about 3 or 4 car lengths over Wood, who's equally got a nice distance over Kostecki. They managed that beautifully off the line, the teammates.
They certainly did. And it could not have worked out better for Mostert. And that little gap that he's got there with his rear gunner teammate in second will be music to everyone's ears in that garage.
Brown's moved up a couple of spots to 13th, you can see on the totem. And the golden tickets, the little gold shields that you can see, denote those that are the championship contenders, the 7 remaining in this battle. The margin is 3/4 of a second, Mostert over Wood. Replay of the start from the drone. And straight away, Mostert, when he grabbed second gear, started to just walk it away, and then was able to turn in from the ideal line down the other end. Focused on the lights. Beautiful. Nice conversion. Oh, no wheel spin. That was just almost a traction control type start.
Yeah.
It was just all using the torque. Nice job. Here's Woody, his teammate, the pole man. Had to dip the clutch a few times to get it to mobilise. And he just feathered the throttle, as you heard in the background, just to give his teammate that little edge going into turn 1. That sorted that out nicely. Tom Randall makes a move on Heimgartner at turn 9 at Dandenong Road, and that brings him up into 20th position from 22nd in qualifying. Live images down the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Here's the replay of what happened down there at Dandenong Road. This is the northernmost end of the racetrack. Tom had to use a fair bit of the inside curb to get that done.
There is the one there with Feeney.
Payne's in, so they've had enough of sitting in the rear bumper, underneath the rear bumper of Di Pasquale. They've brought Matt in to try and get some undercut benefit. They're gambling on a bit of tyre flexibility here and consistency from that tyre. He's in the lane.
Clear. Second.
So that was all 4, and he's now being told 4 cold super soft tyres on that car. So just factor that in your thoughts in the background. Lap 15 came in early for Matt Payne. Does that give him a yield now?
Looks like Anton Di Pasquale's just lost. Oh, big slide there. That's a mistake. You picked it up before at turn 4 and then turn 9 on the last lap. The car's very unstable. When he finishes the braking zone, he goes to turn the car at the corner. It immediately escaped. That lacked rear grip then. He couldn't turn the car at the corner, and Will Brown was able to capitalise on that little misfortune, that little mistake by David Reynolds. Just ran a fraction wide, the car width wide, and straight down the inside for Will Brown. That puts him now into 7th position.
There's Ryan Wood, our race leader. He's got just a little under 1 second from his teammate. And his teammate is around about a second better off in fuel at the next stop, and he's 6 laps better off with tyres. So he'll continue to just make a little bit of ground on him here. We're riding with Chaz Mostert into turn 1. They're not in 6th gear very long at Sandown. Ooh, as he turned it in, then he had to catch it. Got away from him in the rear, and we saw David Reynolds suffering from a fairly significant dose of that earlier on when he was under pressure from Will Brown. That bit of the racetrack right there, turn 4, making sure that enough of the cars up and over the left-hand side of that curb on that concrete pad, getting that throttle advanced as soon as you can. Every millimetre matters there. but it changes your terminal speed at the end of the back straight, which we almost cracked 260 k's there on the telemetry data on the right-hand side of screen. He's got it down to half a second now, so you can see where the advantages are with those tyres. He's got a little bit more in the mid-corner. He's making a little bit of ground under brakes. Grip's grip, just get it everywhere.
So that time on the last lap that you were talking about with Will Brown, he did a 10.13. The fastest lap of the race so far is Mostert with a 10.12, so he's only 1/100th away from the time that Mostert did earlier. He's down the inside now.
I think he's going to sneak down the inside at turn 1, and he does.
Easy. So that's a little throttle release there for Ryan Wood, who just backed off slightly to allow Chaz straight down the inside, so no drama there at all.
Will Brown was the fastest man up the back straight last time through. As we watch Brown coming down the inside of James Courtney here, continuing to make solid ground. That brings him up into 9th position with 47 laps to go. Here's James Courtney, Cooper Murray in the background as well, also in. So this second stop for them covered by fuel, so you could see that wasn't anywhere near as frantic, just getting those wheels and tyres off and on.
Clear to go when it drops. Clear, clear, clear.
So this is the most important stop of the day for our leader. Beautifully on the marks. Nice and composed, everyone. Professional. Well executed. Nice communication. Anthony McDonald. Nice. So very professional and beautiful execution of that stop.
Jackson Evans in the background in the CT Logistics entry. Aaron Cameron coming in as well. Here he is speeding out, and there's his teammate coming on to the straight. So Mostert in a commanding position over his own teammate there as he cycles some warmth up into those incoming tyres that have just gone onto that car. And you've got to manage that pretty carefully, because this is what can happen. I've gone back and found the information in relation to Brodie down here at turn 1, and he's pinched a brake, and that's why he's run wide down there. Now, it wasn't hugely costly. He was trying to protect his position because Brock was on the march down the inside. But that little lock-up, when they're cold like that, hard to recover from. Just grabbed the brake, and the left front has just stopped momentarily. Luckily, he was able to actually scoot around on the apron around the outside. You don't want to be out there in the grass and getting all the dirt and rubbish all over those tyres. And here he is active on the racetrack as Bryce Fullwood now comes into the lane.
Brown, this has been a tremendous drive. He's up 11 positions, and that pace that he showed in the middle part of this race has been emphatic. And look at those numbers there now. Well, these are the numbers that are important given the final system.
And this is a Houdini wriggle because it's got him well and truly out of the cuffs. Got him up into 4th position over Kai Allen there at the moment. Heck of a drive to get from 15th up into position number 4. I'd be curious to keep an eye on the margin and performance differences between he and Brock as the final 21 laps of this race unfold. So at 888, they've got 2 drivers locked in combat, and the way that the body language is being suggested here by Will Brown, he'll be impatient and he'll show the nose at the other end here. His pace off that final corner has been very strong. And at the rate of gain, and he's just made a very nice move down the inside. He stood it on its nose. There was no resistance whatsoever from his teammate. Remember, they touched here last year.
Yep.
He's now up into 3rd place. Now, he is a threat, a genuine threat to these guys, because for whatever reason, a bit of the pace has come off Chaz. 7th fastest on the last.
He's not in the tail, aren't they? He's got a bit of a wing man.
No, he's got a really good wingman. We are going to need to save a little bit of fuel at some point. We're working it out, but a little bit will help us.
Will can sense it. but that's a very difficult thing to achieve at the end of the back straight. So they're sliding all over the road here with car 2, and now he's got to run defensive. He slows it down, slows down his mid-corner speed. They make contact in the middle of the corner, and he knows the game here is to protect his teammate. So the margin at the front at the moment is 1 second. So Ryan is going to do everything he can to make sure that this game is hard and getting harder for Will Brown. And his drive advantage has just diminished in the last couple of laps. Here we go. We've got 5 remaining at Sandown. We've been racing for an hour and 31 minutes. And Wood goes full defence down the inside. That makes him pretty slow through the mid-corner. Up on the outside goes Brown. He's trying every trick in the book. Now he goes to the outside of turn 2, switches across to the other side. Ryan hangs on. The two of them throw them over the top of the curbs at 2, 3, and then 4. Right here was where Woody got crossed up last time. A bit wiser this time to keep the thing straight and the traction nice.
I reckon he's got to plunge it down the inside of turn 4. If he's going to get him, he's got to do it somewhere that we don't really recognise. He won't get him in the traditional spots. And what Ryan's also got to do is not cover so hard. He doesn't need to go all the way to the inside and have to run over all the rubber debris so far offline.
What this has done, it's given a cushion to Mostert. It's now 2.3 seconds between first and second. This is exactly what Mostert is hoping for.
Yep, so the drive traction, we heard the wheel spin.
Yeah, keep focusing on the drive.
Intentional teams, bad sportsmanship flag to car 1 for exceeding track limits.
So now he can't do that. So the track limit issue is a problem for Will Brown. He's been warned about it there on the race management channel. The officials have said you've used all your lives up. He's almost alongside the way into 2. He can't get around there. But I reckon there's a dive down the inside here that's on.
There could be one
this
here
is the one.
on the run to turn 4, and there's side-to-side contact, and it's on. It's on the run out of turn 4.
Got it.
And Brown gets up one spot after a real tough run and a real rough up.
That was the spot.
And that's a great spot to do it.
That was the spot I said on the previous lap. There's a dive down there, and he was able to capitalise on a mistake from turn 2 and turn 3. But he can't keep running across there because that's what he's just been pinged for.
And he did a lot of it then. What's happened while we were focused on all of that, that margin's gone out to 4.5 seconds, and it's about to be 3 laps remaining. How's the elastic band effect there? Look at the stretch.
Yes.
Mostert has disappeared down the road. So Woody's done what he can. Here's the replay. Have a look what happens here as he sizes him up. Will Brown. Wood had the thing on the slide through 2 and 3, and then jamming the throttle, Will Brown just sneaks it up the inside and hunts him out over the top of the curb. Big wheel spin for Wood as he tries to battle on. Nothing he could do about it in the end. That was hard head-to-head combat.
Yeah, and fair, because he got up far enough to be able to put the move on.
Totally.
But have a look at the time that Brown did on that lap. He did a 13.3 when Mostert did an 11.5. They're down the inside. What's this?
This is just innate race driving. They are scrambling. They're doing anything they can. Their cars are sliding. They're aware of each other. They can hear each other's cars. They can sense the other cars around them. They are hanging on by their fingernails out there. What a battle. Out of turn 4 now for the last time. 33 years of age. He joined the championship with Dick Johnson Racing at Wanneroo back in 2013. And he's been frustrated at times over the years that despite generating a couple of Bathurst victories along the way and 27 wins and 26 pole positions in his career to this point, he's not been able to lock up the championship. What the finals have done for him in 2025 is they've brought him alive.
Yep.
So the elimination final at the Gold Coast, he strung together 2 magnificent victories. And out of the final corner here at Sandown for part 1 of the semi-final, and Chaz Mostert has put together the numbers today, and a brilliant victory at Sandown Raceway. And it makes it 3 in a row for Chazzy.
That's the first time in history for Chaz Mostert to win 3 in a row, and what a time to do it. This young man has played a massive role in this today. He's been superb. He was the rear gunner and he protected him from Will Brown. And for Will Brown, that's one of the best drives I've ever seen him put on. To come from 15th to 2nd, that's an extraordinary performance today. Hats off to Will Brown and the team.
And this is how it washed out. An exciting finish. Mostert, Brown and Wood, the top three. Feeney just misses out. Good drive from Brodie Kostecki today. Penrite Racing get a couple cars inside the 10. Bryce Forward and James Golding flying under the radar with a couple of top 10 performances there. Bryce also made it inside the shootout earlier today. Cam Waters cut a dejected figure coming out of his car. He finished 12th. Might need a bit of a miracle tomorrow. Ditto that his teammate Thomas Randall, who's down in 16th position today. Battled hard towards the end, particularly with Andre Heimgartner. And Jack LeBrock had those electrical issues that round. Crean updated, the only driver to have finished this one from beyond the lead lap. It was a flat-out blast, 97 minutes.